I never expected to become a Muslim, yet here I am. And that's because Allah chose to guide me in the most painful, yet most beautiful of ways. Growing up, life always felt very hard for me. I really struggled in school. I really struggled in relationships and friendships. I really struggled in my career as I got older. And I also struggled with my health. There were so many things in my life that, no matter how hard I tried to push in that direction, things just were not working out for me. And I was a very ambitious person. I had all these massive dreams. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to feel a sense of absolute security. So I tried to control every single aspect of my existence. I honestly thought that if I just worked harder, if I just analyzed everything perfectly, I could force the world to give me what I wanted. But life doesn't work that way. The harder I gripped the steering wheel, the more my life spun completely out of control. It felt like I was running full speed on a treadmill, exhausting myself, but going absolutely nowhere. I reached a point where I was completely burned out. I remember sitting on the floor of my bedroom one night, absolutely exhausted to my core. It wasn't just physical tiredness, it was a deep, soul-crushing fatigue. I was so angry at the world. I kept asking, why me? Why is everything a battle? Why do I have to fight so hard just to breathe? I had no religious background. I grew up in an environment where God was rarely mentioned. We were taught to rely entirely on ourselves, on our own intellect and strength. But in that moment on my bedroom floor, my own strength had completely run out. I had absolutely nothing left to give. And from that place of absolute emptiness, I looked up, crying uncontrollably, and I spoke out loud. I said, if you are there, if anyone is listening to me right now, please just help me. I can't do this by myself anymore. Show me what I am supposed to do. Just guide me. I didn't expect the room to suddenly fill with light. I didn't expect an immediate miracle. But what happened over the next few months was a series of small, quiet moments that completely shattered my worldview. It started with a profound sense of emptiness that finally pushed me to search for meaning outside of my career and my ambitions. I wanted to understand why pain exists. Nothing made sense until, completely by accident, or rather by divine design, I stumbled across a video of someone reciting the Quran. I didn't understand a single word of Arabic. I didn't know what was being said, but the sound of it bypassed my logical brain and went straight into my chest. I started crying again, but this time I didn't even know why. It felt like hearing a familiar voice calling me home after a very long, exhausting journey. That unexplainable feeling compelled me to find an English translation of the Quran. I ordered a copy, and when it arrived, I opened it with so much hesitation. I was expecting a book of rigid rules, harsh judgments, and impossible standards. But what I found was entirely different. I read Surah Ad-Duha. Your Lord has not forsaken you, nor does he hate you. When I read those specific words, time just stood still. It felt as if the creator of the entire universe was speaking directly to my bruised and battered soul. He knew I felt abandoned. He knew I felt like a failure, and here was this ancient book telling me, no, I have been with you this entire time. As I kept reading, I came across the concept of Tawakkul, complete reliance and trust in Allah. I learned that in Islam, you put in the effort, you do your absolute best, but you leave the outcome completely to God. You surrender the final result. This concept broke me down in the best way possible. I realized that my entire life, I had been trying to carry the weight of the universe on my own shoulders. I was trying to force outcomes and control my destiny. Islam was telling me to let go. It was telling me that my struggles were not punishments, but redirections. Every closed door in my career, every broken friendship, every health scare, they were all carefully designed by Allah to strip away my reliance on this temporary world and push me toward Him. My ambition wasn't the problem, but where I was directing it was. The more I learned, the more everything began to click into place. I started quietly observing Muslims around me. I saw a community of people who put their foreheads on the ground in complete submission multiple times a day. I watched people going through incredible hardships, losing loved ones, losing jobs, facing severe illnesses. And yet, they had this unshakable peace in their eyes. They would say, Alhamdulillah, all praise is to God, even through their tears. I wanted that peace. I craved that internal stillness more than I craved career success, more than I craved money, more than anything else I had ever chased. Of course, the journey wasn't perfectly smooth. I had doubts. My ego fought back hard. My mind would whisper, "You don't need religion. You are a strong, independent person." I was terrified of what my friends would think, what my family would say. I was scared of changing my lifestyle and giving up the illusions of control that I thought brought me comfort. But the harsh truth was, my old life hadn't brought me comfort at all. It had brought me anxiety, deep depression, and a feeling of profound loneliness. The true turning point came during Ramadan. I wasn't Muslim yet, but I decided to try fasting just to see what it was like. The first few days were physically grueling, but spiritually it was an absolute awakening. The hunger stripped away all of my daily distractions. I couldn't numb my emotions with food or coffee or by running around trying to be busy. I had to finally sit with myself. And in those quiet, silent moments right before breaking the fast, I felt a presence. I felt a mercy and a closeness to the Creator that I simply cannot describe with words. I realized in those moments that Allah had loved me enough to let me fail at everything else, just so I could finally find victory in Him. He loved me enough to break my heart so that He could be the one to heal it. I couldn't deny it anymore. My heart knew the absolute truth. So I gathered every ounce of courage I had and went to the local mosque. I was so nervous that my hands were physically shaking, but the people there welcomed me with such genuine warmth and such pure love that all my fears just melted away. I stood there taking the deepest breath of my life, and I said the words that would forever change my destiny. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. I bear witness that there is no deity worthy of worship except Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is His messenger. The exact moment those words left my lips, I felt a physical weight lift off my chest. It felt like taking my very first real breath of air after drowning for my entire life. I wept. I wept for the years I spent wandering in the dark, hurting myself by trying to do it all alone. I wept for the pain that I thought would destroy me, but actually built me. And I wept out of pure, overwhelming gratitude that Allah, the Master of the universe, looked down at a broken, exhausted, ambitious girl who was trying to control her life and decided to guide her to His light. Since taking my Shahada, my life hasn't magically become a fairy tale. I still have days where my health acts up. I still face very real challenges in my career. I still have moments of sadness and grief. Islam doesn't promise us a life without storms, but what it does promise us is an unbreakable anchor. Now, when the storms come, I don't panic. I don't feel like my entire world is collapsing. I know that the one who controls the winds and the waves is taking perfect care of me. I now pray 5 times a day, and those prayers are my ultimate sanctuary. It is the time where I leave the chaos, the noise, and the demands of this world behind, and just converse with my Lord. I pour out all my worries on the prayer mat, and I stand back up feeling lighter. The fierce ambition that used to destroy me has now been beautifully redirected. Instead of striving endlessly to impress people who don't even care about me, I strive only to please Allah. Everything I do, whether it's my work, how I treat my health, or how I interact with others, is now tied to a much higher, eternal purpose. If you are listening to this right now, and you are not Muslim, or if you are someone who is just desperately struggling to find your way in life, I want you to know with absolute certainty that your pain is not pointless. That feeling of hitting a brick wall over and over again might just be the universe's way of telling you that you are walking down the wrong path. Stop fighting the current. Stop trying to control what isn't yours to control. Look up. Ask for guidance with a sincere and open heart. Even if you don't fully know who you are asking yet, the Creator is listening. He is closer to you than your own jugular vein. I am standing here today, not as someone who has life all figured out, but as someone who finally knows exactly who to trust with the things I cannot control. I was a person who wanted the whole world, but Allah gave me something infinitely better. He gave me Islam. He gave me ultimate peace. And for that, I will spend the rest of my days saying Alhamdulillah.